Welcome, this is Stuart Zadel from Zadel Property Education with this month's video success tip. Now last month we covered the topic of desire. This is part 2 of a 3-part series, and I highly recommend you go back to the first part for it all to make sense, because we're going to cover 3 things that are essential for those that want to generate financial abundance or a financial surplus. And it has nothing to do with knowledge, experience or money like most people would think. You know, interestingly, I've never seen someone make it that didn't have these 3 things. And I've never seen anyone who didn't make it that wasn't missing at least one or more of these 3 things. So today we're going to talk about a new world, yes, and a new word. And that word is, in one word, that word is optimism. That is a brightness of the future, expecting the good. But you know, that's not how it is. That's not how most people are. Many people out there are the opposite of optimistic. They are what we call pessimistic. And you know what? You almost can't blame them. You cannot pick up a newspaper, turn on a TV or listen to a radio without seeing stories or gruesome images of war and violence and terror. It is a nasty world and a nasty planet, and many people let this stop them and expect the worst and that the end is coming, or words to that effect. You know, one of my mentors one time said to me, Stuart, this has always been an ugly world. It has always been a world of terror and violence and essentially pessimism. But he said, you can't let that stop you moving forward. You and I may not be able to do too much about that on a world scale, but on an individual scale, we can do what we can do. And he said, you can't let this stop you. So despite the pessimism and war and terror, he said, amongst all that, there are a select few of us that create wealth, that always have created wealth. And why do we create that wealth? We create that wealth so that we can find out people that maybe don't have a great lot in life, and we can improve and add to their life. This is why you create wealth, to help those that are less fortunate by those that are more fortunate or are capable to generate a surplus and make a difference with that. So here's the thing, many people out there are pessimistic, but you can't let that stop you. Now the challenge is, most of our great lessons come through the challenges, come through the hard times, or come through the trouble or the problems. I prefer to call it challenges. And that is our greatest teacher. The challenges are our greatest teachers. And we have come here to learn. So the trick is, you can't let the pessimism stop you. You can't let it inhibit you. You have to do the opposite. You have to let it inspire you that when there is trouble and when there is challenges, that's time to get your boots on and to get going, and know that you will triumph if you will just learn and focus on the right information. So that is a very, very key and fundamental lesson here. In a moment, I'm going to draw a scale up here for you to have a look at. So here's the thing, I'm not saying you're going to change the whole world. We're not going to change the whole world. But you know what? We can influence a few. We can influence those in our circle of influence, if you will, and those in our own personal life. And we can make a difference, absolutely. So what I want you to think about right now is, I want you to think about a scale. Again, from 1 to 10, and where do you sit on that scale? Are you highly pessimistic or are you highly optimistic? The trick is, though, you have to be just optimistic enough to take action, to believe that better results are possible, and to continually move forward. Now the good news is, even if you are pessimistic or highly pessimistic, optimism is a learned skill. The first thing you could do is get around those that are a little bit more optimistic than you, but it is definitely a learned skill, and there is such a thing as learned optimism. You absolutely can do it. You can start firstly by focusing on the things that you do want and not the things you don't want. So I'm going to leave it there for now. We're going to come back to part 3 next time, and I hope you've enjoyed it. This is Stuart Zadel, to your optimistic success.